Okay, here we go. So, this is the start to a brand new channel that I'm starting. And the kind of concept behind it is I don't want to have any sort of editing. I want this to be as authentic as possible for multiple reasons. One, I kind of just want to work on my speaking skills in front of a camera. I don't want to like be cutting the video so much. I don't want it to be like jarring and stuff like that. Two, I have no expectations for this channel. I don't even expect to get really that many subscribers, but if you do subscribe, that's amazing. Thanks for being here. This is more so just for practice, and who knows, maybe it'll turn into something big in the future. That would be awesome. But either way, I'm just happy getting some practice in and just seeing how this goes. Now, so that's kind of this channel, Unscripted Reps, which is funny because I'm actually working a little bit based on a script today. So just kind of like, take that for what it is, for a grain of salt, or whatever they say. So today, I really just want to focus on something. It's a concept that I came up with, and it is called the Comfortability Loop. And I think this is something that's like super helpful, at least in my life, it's been super helpful. And I think it might be something that could help you out too. So what I've kind of found is that, you know, I can either get really tired at times for multiple reasons, or I could just have all this sort of energy and I'm trying to figure out how to balance it out. And so if you ever feel like you're just maybe tired all the time, one of these things might be the issue. So I'm going to go over 3 different things today. So you see if any of these can kind of help you or really speak to you in your life. So the first thing is the need to work purposefully. So a lot of us go throughout life and we're doing really hard work and we're just grinding all day long and we're like, I'm physically tired. That makes sense. But why am I also like mentally tired? Why am I mentally tired? And I think I have this concept that if we're actually doing purposeful work every day, we're working towards kind of our purpose in life, our end goals, or whatever that may look like. Our end goals may even just be a type of life, a way of life in which we want to live. Then I think and I have a feeling that we won't be as mentally fatigued every single day. Now, when you go through a full day and you're just like really tired by the end of it, that's different. What I'm talking about is like when you wake up in the morning tired, or when you're like just a few hours into your day and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm already exhausted. I'm already tired. I just don't want to be here. But I have this feeling and this thought that if we are working towards this ideal version, which we'll never achieve, but this kind of ideal concept of where we want to go and what we want to get to, this world that we want to create for ourselves, this purpose, I have a feeling that that meaningful work will actually give us energy to wake up in the day, not in the middle of the day. You're already awake, hopefully, unless you take a nap, which can be a good thing. But can wake up in the morning and just like with all this energy and just like have this built up energy and just you're just so ready for the day. So I think that's concept number 1 of why you might be feeling tired, is because you just don't have that purpose, that vision that you're working towards. Maybe you're getting up and working for someone else's purpose, someone else's vision. So make sure that if you are doing that, totally fine. I think that's what most people are doing, but that like while you're doing that, you're also pursuing that higher purpose for your own life. You're also like working towards that purpose. And that might be like after your 9 to 5, you maybe spend like even just 30 minutes a day, like on something that you're excited about, whether it's a YouTube channel or something like a book that you're writing, or just something that you can just really, really get excited about. So that's concept number 1. But that's just like half of it. So that's just one of the things. There may be another reason why you're feeling like really tired, and it may be the complete opposite reason of that. Maybe you're already working towards your purpose, or maybe you just feel fine like working for someone else's purpose, but you just feel like you're just tired every day for maybe some other reason. And I think that comes to concept number 2, which is the need for rest. So everyone needs to rest, right? So you can't just be working all the time. Even if you're working towards that purpose and it's driving you and pulling you forward, you still have to rest. There's this concept, I'm a personal trainer. There's this concept in training, which is like having a deload week. So even though I have that goal for myself in the future, I still like every so often, like 4, 5, 6 weeks, have to take a deload week, which is where like I've built up all this volume, all this training, all this hard work, and I just need to take a little bit of time, that 1 week usually, where I just cut my volume in half or cut the reps or the sets in half, whatever it may be, and just relax. So after that, I can come back and do it again and I can repeat. So if it were on a line graph, it would be like working, 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 Super tired though, even though I'm going towards my goal. So I need to deload a little bit so that I'm less tired as I continue to work back. So it's not like a linear line. It's more like kind of like a undulating line, I believe they call it. So that goes for everything in life as well. I think there's a time to really work. I think there's a time to really rest. And so that kind of leads us into this concept, the third point that I want to make today, and that is this comfortability loop concept. So this is something I was just thinking about last year, and I just kind of came up with, and I was like, this makes a lot of sense for my life, because there are periods where I'm working extremely hard. There are periods where I'm resting maybe too much, and I think there needs to be something kind of in between, a balance. So if you think of your work as like a circle in your life, you're just constantly working. You think of your rest as like a resting circle in your life. It needs to be put together to make like a figure 8. And on one side, you're working, on one side, you're resting. And that's what I call the comfortability loop. You're either being comfortable, I guess that would be on this side. You're either being comfortable or you're being uncomfortable. And I think being uncomfortable is like that work. You like when you're working, it's okay to be comfortable. It's good to be comfortable, but you sometimes, like if you're working towards your purpose, you kind of need to like push into the next like level, right? You need to push yourself into the next phases of life. That's what, if we go back to our training, like where we're like building up, that does not feel comfortable. Like when you're deloading, that feels great. You're just going in, kind of going through the motions, stuff like that. But when you're working out, especially as you get towards what we call like peak week, the week right before the deload, that's where you just need to like really push it, really be uncomfortable. I mean, you're sweating, you're exhausted, all that sort of stuff, but that's actually what your body needs to kind of push yourself into the next phases of life. And I think the same concept is true with your mentality, with the way you work, when you go to work, whatever you're doing with your business, whatever it may be. I think there needs to be a time in which you're really pushing yourself, but there also needs to be a time which is balanced out with that, where you're really resting, right? And ideally, if you could figure out some sort of way to kind of put this into almost like a life training program where you're working hard, you're resting hard, you're working hard, you're resting hard, right? So maybe that looks like for you, you have the energy just to go all week and just work super hard. And in the weekend, you know how to shut it off and you know how to rest. Maybe that looks like you work really hard during the day, you rest really hard at night, and you could do that even on weekends if you wanted to, right? Maybe it looks like some sort of mix. Maybe it looks like something completely different for you. I know for me, one of the things I've started implementing recently is to take kind of like a little break, just a 10-minute break, middle of the day. Maybe it could be around your lunchtime or something, and just take 10 minutes and just do like a guided meditation. Because I find that like halfway through the day, my brain gets like so bogged down with all these ideas and all these things going on in my life that it's just like bam, 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 bam. And when I can just take a moment, 10 minutes or so, and just relax and just meditate, relax my mind, I find that my energy starts to slowly come back. So I encourage you, if you haven't already, try that out. There's a lot of guided meditations. I literally just go on YouTube, look up like the Calm 10-minute meditation. It's a free one. You could just go through that, put it in your earbuds or whatever, and just kind of relax. If you're in your car, if you're at home, hopefully not like right on the job or whatever, but like wherever you may be, maybe they allow that. That would be kind of cool. Like, why don't jobs allow like a meditation break? That would be kind of cool. But something like that. So just to recap, you need parts of your life where you're just working towards something purposeful. You need parts of your life where you're resting. And I would also say resting on purpose, resting purposefully. Because if you're not resting purposefully, you're just kind of like almost getting to the stages where you're being lazy, right? So we want to rest purposefully. Build in those 10-minute a day rest. Build in the time after work. Build in the time on the weekends, that sort of stuff. So we want to build those in. We want to mix them together into what I call that comfortability loop. And we just want to keep going back and forth. And I think that's a really solid way to balance your life. So that is video number 1. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a little something. If you're actually watching this, let me know in the comments if any of this stuff resonated with you. If you've maybe tried something like this, if maybe you've tried a meditation, maybe you've tried like changing your mindset on work and going towards more something that's more purposeful in your life. Or maybe it's like you're resting a lot more or whatever that may be. Let me know in the comments down below. And let me know what other topics you would like me to talk about in the future. I just kind of plan on getting on here and just kind of like spewing my guts about certain things. I just thought this one was really interesting since I just like have been implementing it in my life, and I think maybe it could help you out as well. So thanks so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you want to, and I will catch you in the next video.